All right.
You know what? We're live. Hi, Shawn.
Hey, Sherry, how are you?
All right. In all transparency, I'm freaking afraid to say anything today. I'm afraid, I'm afraid anything I say is going to offend or upset someone. So can we just start out by I don't want to do that. I'm not here to. I'm not here for that.
Yeah, I'm with you, and I think just saying that, we're talking about kindness in our the Hard Things Are Okay series, and we'll be kind. So be kind to yourself. So don't feel like you have to hold back, but also, it is the internet, so people are gonna get grumbly.
Yeah.
It's just percentage wise, and we can be kind to them too. So.
So Shawn, thanks. I mean, like, just to kind of fill anybody in who's listening in already or listening later. So lucky enough to see Shawn the other day and have a cup of apple cider, which was quite good. And talking, we started talking. I mean, we've been on a little bit of a hiatus because I've been traveling. But this little bit of a series called The Hard Stuff Is Okay. And so when we were talking about let's do it again, we were like, okay, when? Oh goodness, there's some hard stuff going on right now. Right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, definitely.
Yeah. So thank you, Shawn, for being willing to just kind of on the fly show up because I'll speak from my own experience of being a citizen here in the United States lately. It's hard. There's a lot of emotion. There's understandably a lot of strong feelings, a lot of stress. That's the number one word I've been hearing over the past.
Hmm.
I'm so stressed. How are you handling your stress? This is so stressful. I feel so upset. My stomach hurts. And so I hope I could speak for both of us in saying, we're both coaches. And, I feel like it's really important to help people feel more peace.
Hmm.
How about you, Shawn?
Yeah, with the election today and how contentious politics seems in the US at least, but I think it's everywhere. You take a look, any nation on the globe at
Yeah.
any given time it has a lot of things. That yeah, I mean, politics is one of those weird things that if you're in polite society, you're not supposed to talk about along with religion, right? And, so there's a couple of things. So like the topic itself could be a live wire, and I've not sure if you've noticed this, but I've felt, especially in the last 8 years, that sense of civility of being a citizen, and like I might disagree with you, but we all have good intention here. We're all trying to do right by our family with the available information that we have. And we've lost some of that curiosity and some of that commonality, which makes it really easy to be like, I don't talk to my so and so family member at Thanksgiving anymore, or they're not invited to Thanksgiving because we just end up yelling at each other. And part of that is, we're not looking for kindness, which is why I love that we're talking about this today. Is how can we have our strong beliefs and opinions, but still coexist with one another?
Yeah.
And that, yeah.
Shawn, I love that. And I love that you brought in the divisions in families because I have been thinking a lot about that. And even before we went live, I said to you, I
Mhm.
posted something today on Facebook about, no matter what, could we love and respect each other? Not realizing that in itself is a very political statement, right? Like 8 years ago, I don't think that would have been. I mean, I don't know,
Mhm.
but I think that it comes to um, something's happened where I feel, and again, just my opinion, but I feel like we've started clumping people together
Mhm. Mhm.
in so many ways that and I find that dangerous no matter what. I mean, I don't care if you believe everything I believe, you have my same values. Once we start saying those people, and then even in families, right, that happens. Oh, well,
Mhm.
you're on that side, so we can't have dinner together. Like, where does that leave us? I,
Yeah, not in a good spot.
no, right? And I want to preface this right now by saying I know that there's a lot on the line. I know people are scared, but I've also talked to people on both sides of this political divide who seem to feel the same way. Like that's what's
Hmm.
to me, right? Each side is calling the other side like haters and people
Hmm.
who don't care about people. I mean, I find that fascinating. You know,
Hmm. Yeah,
yeah.
I'm with you. And the best, I'm not sure how you make sense of, of that, but it seems to be that there's just people that have focus on specific things, that they have like one issue that's really defining for them, and then all the rest kind of doesn't matter. And so that's been really fascinating for me is like, what are people like so focused on this election? And with that focus, again, like we're talking about kindness, if you're so focused on your side winning, you're so focused on this particular point of view, you kind of forget the rest of humanity, I think. I'm
Yeah.
not sure. It's very easy to dehumanize people that aren't on board for your one thing. Um, and it's an inherent human nature thing. It's not a political party thing, you know?
Yes. Oh, so well said. So yeah, so back to the word kindness.
Hmm.
Like this again, I don't claim to know anything. I don't, just from my own experience and from working with a lot of people as a coach, but it's like to me, I have never really seen hatred solve things. You know,
Hmm.
to me, the times that I've seen there be movements of opinion is when again, I would like to open the door with kindness and with, like you just said, we're humans, right? And we start there, and then we might
Hmm.
be able to, like, actually, I don't know, if not find a common ground, if not come to a similar place, at least we're not like hating on each other in the meantime.
Hmm. And to bring that full circle to something you said a minute ago, like it's hate towards an abstract word or an abstract idea, and it's not actual hatred between people. If I talk with any of the people on the other side of the political spectrum in my family, we can have a civil thing. Like we kind of, there's a little bit of gristling, a little bit of like, oh, you don't understand. But like at the end of the day, I respect them. I love them. I have really great memories growing up with that. I look forward to seeing them and talking to them. And it's not because they're part of X group, it's because it's my aunt and uncle, or it's my brother, or it's my whoever, like, um, it's hard to have, it's like, that's the shift, I think. The hate towards abstract groups versus behaviors,
Yes.
Um,
Yes, and thank you because and again, I think this was my point, when I posted this morning, I'm not saying love ideas that don't align with your values or respect thing, but I'm saying they're individual people. I mean, in my
mhm,
mind, just like you kind of did, like I have a whole bunch of faces of people that I know did not vote my values
mhm,
also know, you know, how they raised their children with love or how they saved that
mhm,
puppy who was on the street or you know what I mean? Like they're individuals. And
mhm,
I just this to me what seems like it's happened and is happening us and them, us and them, us and them.
mhm.
That scares me. That's where I
Yeah,
get
100%, and we're all like, if you put it in terms of like people hating their fellow countrymen, that sounds harsh, but it also kind of, I think, can jog you out of the us versus them when it's like, no, there's a we here. And it's like in a relationship, there's you, there's the other person, and then there's the relationship. You go through like marriage counseling, or you want to work on your friendships. Like, there's the individuals, and then there's the part that comes together. And we've lost the part that comes together in a lot of the like discourse on the edges, I'll say. So I think the more extreme political viewings kind of lost the middle ground, right? And I think a lot of people have been responding to that. I think hopeful things that I've been paying attention to this election is that there's been more talk of the things that unite us or the things that are important or the values of being a US citizen versus political parties or particular points. And I'm not sure if you've seen that too, Sherry, but um,
Yeah. Yeah.
it feels weird talking about politics on the Facebooks. I'm just going to throw that out. Like, I'm feeling a
Oh,
little uneasy.
me too. Well, you know what? It's so funny you should say that because I was feeling like, oh my gosh, even as much as we're trying to talk about it in general terms,
Hmm.
it's still, um, yeah. And which, yeah, I don't even want to get into this. I want to go back to kindness.
Yeah.
So, this is what's dropping in for me in the moment. I was recently just spending some time with my mom who lives in the Midwest. She
Hmm.
happens to be, in an area that is very political. And one of the things that I was noticing was when I walked around the streets and saw someone walking with a dog, I would always just sort of, oh, what a cute dog. Hi, no idea,
Hmm.
right? We have no idea what anyone believes about anything, but how enjoyable it is to simply connect with somebody on the streets,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
And how I was very intentionally wanting to stop and connect with people with kindness. Oh,
Hmm.
what a cute dog, or oh, what a beautiful day, or just to intentionally kind of, if there was a gap, to bridge it, if there wasn't a gap, just to bring some joy.
Yeah.
Um, and I was noticing, and I think this is the piece that maybe might even be the most important piece in my mind, how I felt, right?
Hmm.
The peace, the calm, the connection, the sense of, we're all in this world, on this world together, right?
Hmm.
And again, back to what we started with today, so many people right now are feeling, like it's like people's nervous systems are a little bit out of whack, right? I
Hmm.
hear people saying this. I'm so stressed. I can't calm down. I can't
Yep.
focus. And so kindness to me is one way that I always, whether I'm depressed or anxious or angry or whatever, I find that when I am intentionally kind, I'm the first recipient.
Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that. And it's so true that like, and I think another way to say this is like you do the movie voice, like in a world of uncertainty and so many things out of your control, what can you control? Kindness, like it's such a truth. Like this is something that's actually actionable in your life, like right now. You could go outside after you watch this whenever and say hello to a neighbor with a big smile and ask them how their day is or help them with the trash or whatever it is, and you will feel an immediate change, right? That connection, that like, oh, I did something good for someone today. Like these are all things I hope we have in our daily life. Like I know you're you are the queen of intentionality, Sherry, and I really so much, I just love that about you. And it's so easy with how life happens and how sometimes we could feel out of control that we don't realize that we can set that intention, and actually that intention has a huge impact.
Yeah. Well, and thank you for that. And I want to remind anyone that may have never heard me say this, the reason I'm so intentional about joy and love and kindness is because I got to keep myself out of that pit of depression, right? Like
Hmm.
I am prone to anxiety and depression. I know that I'm wired that way. And so I just always like to say that as a reminder that it's like, it's for me first, and
Hmm.
I love the magic of the universe that when we give, we're the first recipients. I think that's like one of the
Hmm.
most, like miraculous things in the world, right?
Hmm.
But thank you for also reminding all of us. And I love the way you did it. I love that. In a world full of uncertainty, right? But that, I mean, it's the Viktor Frankl. thing, right?
Hmm.
It's like, my God, if that man could have, found ways to connect with people in those circumstances and to do what he could to choose and to be intentional, we can do it during any time, right? I almost used the word
Yeah.
election and then I got scared again. Like, and we
Yeah.
shouldn't have to be, it shouldn't, this is the thing I think that makes me super sad. Like, there's
Hmm.
really become a feeling of walking on eggshells.
Hmm.
And that's sad. I mean, I was thinking about this earlier today that it's like America, like the one of the greatest things is that we all have the freedom to say what we feel, right?
Hmm.
And the fact that that kind of got twisted around so that whenever anybody says how they feel, somebody wants to tell them they're wrong, that's sad.
Yeah. It like I love this topic, and what's dropping in for me because I think about this a lot is like there's a freedom to be able to speak your mind, and I always think about the responsibility to do so.
Oh, I like that.
And when you feel something strongly, especially in the place where we are right now, it's your duty to share that. And there's a responsibility that comes with it. And sometimes it comes with the cost of being uncomfortable or upsetting people. And, I'm somebody that is very much a people pleaser. So that the fact that I'm saying this is like a huge deal for me to be like, no, like, I felt like, especially in my generation, things were pretty calm
Yeah.
politically. Like the U.S. was pretty stable, and like politics just seemed like a way to like get upset and not have a lot of control. And I wonder if people, millennials, the elder millennials or millennials now that came up in that world ish, right? That kind of changed for some of the younger millennials. That that sense of apathy, like people will choose the right thing. We don't really need to participate, is actually has hurt us in this moment, because I still feel uncomfortable speaking, even though we're not saying anything political. This feels like a very politically filled thing. And like you said, like I love that you called out we're walking on eggshells. I feel like we have to so we don't get like the flaming arrows of the internet, because this is the internet thing. But like that's also the responsibility to say kindness, like just be kind, right? In spite
Right.
of the flaming arrows of the internet.
Right. And this is so great because, outing myself too, right? I am also a people pleaser, right? I
Mhm.
grew up sort of like this, not wanting to make waves in my own family, in my school. Oh, Mark, mwah. Said, I'm firing loving arrows of kindness your way.
That's awesome.
So I was watching my own tendency to just, like not post on social media, over
Hmm.
this whole period of time or not say anything. And then today I kind of felt the way you just said, Shawn, is I was like, gosh, a lot of people are suffering right now. A lot of people are having a really hard time and feeling unsettled in themselves and unsettled with their neighbor. And people are scared. And I'm a
Hmm.
freaking coach. Like, I
Hmm.
offer something that is not going to be the right thing. Certainly not going to be the right thing for everybody or even most people. But I could offer where I find solace, which is
Hmm.
meditation and kindness and, connecting with people wherever we can connect. I mean, those things bring me peace. Maybe they'll bring
Hmm.
someone else some peace, even if it's one person out there. Right. And so
Hmm.
I
Yeah.
love what you're saying because it's way easier to just hide.
Hmm.
I know how to be peaceful in myself, right? I mean, I've been a meditator for 30 some years. I know how to settle my system and come to a place of inner peace. But there's lots of people who maybe haven't gotten those.
Hmm.
And Mark, I love that Mark popped in. He's the perfect person to be commenting right now. Because Mark is, I hope you're still listening, Mark. He just walks around the world with his heart open. At least that's my
Mm.
experience. Like, I love that. Mark is not afraid to speak about love, to walk and to be love. Yay!
He's here.
Mark, right? And I think that's a perfect example. He is also a coach of someone who, chooses to role model uh,
Hmm.
what he believes, and those beliefs, I think, are helping the world, as are you.
Awesome.
Yeah. So the bravery in, again, I just find it, I can almost cry. Like, I find it super sad that there's a moment in time where we have to be brave to talk about respect and love and civility and kindness, or those
Yeah.
things. You know what I mean? Like, that makes me so sad.
Hmm.
And I get it. I understand it.
Hmm. But I have a question for you too, because I think I always struggle with this question, and I think like part of the stakes of politics of late has been how decent are the group of people that I call fellow citizens are. And I'm of the belief that most people are decent, good, and have good intentions. And so even through all the scariness of it, I have that hope that like we'll see our way through it. There's enough decent people that want to take care of their families, that want to um, not be angry all the time, and I say that too because I think a lot of the signals that we see out in the world are the noisy, loud ones. Um, it's like the adage that like the squeaky wheel gets fixed first or something like that. I totally botched it, but um, you know, you get what I'm saying, that right? Like it's the noisy parts that get our focus, and it's not the helpers. It's not the people doing good work. There's like you know. Um, like my good friend Sherry, like I know always getting out there and being very authentic and true to who you are and your experience and what you're about. Um, we're all this, yeah, as coaches, we're all kind of this way. So, um, yeah, that's what I'm kind of betting on right now. No matter how the cards fall, is there's enough decent people that we're not seeing, right? And
Right.
to be reminded that like what am I trying to say? I kind of got off the topic of kindness. I'm trying to like land the plane, but
If I might, like, what I was
yeah.
hearing, Sean, what I was hearing you say is that a lot of what's coming at us in the news and the social media are kind of the extremes, because that's the attention getting, right?
Hmm.
But what doesn't get attention is, the kind person who smiled at me when I was just walking up the street to my dance class today. She just gave me a big smile, like
Hmm.
that kind of, like, just genuine, or like you said, it doesn't get attention when people are just, working to take care of their families and have, good wholesome food, and like those things
Hmm.
are not newsworthy. But I think where you were going with that is that there's a lot of good-hearted people and good-heartedness out.
Hmm.
Is that
Yeah.
right?
Yes. And then the I think where I was trying to steer it is that like our intention for other people helps us be kind. you know, if everyone I meet, stranger, is like, they're probably a really decent person, of course I'll hold the door open for you. Or of course I saw that you dropped your bag of groceries, let me help you gather it together. Or, like I think it becomes harder to be kind when you expect the worst out of people, and the worst expectations come from the loudest voices.
Yes.
Something like that.
Oh, that was good. That was super good. Yeah. And you just reminded me of a little trick that I often will do, which is sometimes when I'm, like, I don't know, anywhere with a group of people, I would think, gosh, what if we were in a plane crash together? And I know that sounds kind of hard and morbid, but
Mhm.
that, well, I think we would all pull together, right? We would care for one
Mhm.
another. We would want to help each other. And in some ways, it's like, it's probably not a bad metaphor right now. Like,
Yeah.
my friend Rosemary, the poet, and I were talking recently about that. I was like, gosh, you'd think when we're all so scared, we would come together. Like
Mhm.
that feels like that would be the more natural response, would be like, oh my gosh, this is scary. How do we help each other? You know?
Mhm.
Um,
Abs- Absolutely, and I think the loudest, worst voices out there know that there's power in that, and part of the walking on eggshells, or part of the I'm afraid to talk because we connect when we speak, is the power to control how people are relating. Like if everyone's afraid to talk to one another, it's really hard to be like, no, we're facing the same bear charging at us at our
yeah,
plane crash site. Like, we need to solve the big bear problem, you know? Um,
I love that, Shawn. I just glanced at the clock and I see that we're almost up against the time we had set, which I can't believe it's going super fast. I don't know about
totally.
you, but I'm just feeling like, ooh, like so many different. First of all, I'm grateful to have talked to you and to.
Mhm.
Um, I'm also feeling a lot of stuff just around like, um, yeah, wishing more peace for us all. I guess that's it. I just wish more peace
Mhm.
for everyone, individually and collectively.
Yeah, peace and kindness to yourself. Like, if you're nervous, we get it. So, and you have permission, like, not that you need permission. This is the coaching thing, but like, feel your feelings. Like, that's a-okay. And I like, maybe we can end on, what are you going to do
Yeah.
to spread kindness today and to take care of yourself today, because it's such a emotional ride for everyone here in the States.
No, Sean, I love that. I love that. And maybe if you let's just do this. Let's end with I just wanted to give a couple things that I find really helpful when my nervous
Hmm.
system is crazy. I mean, I already said like deliberate kindness, that just like you said,
Hmm.
Trisha, go out on the street, connect with somebody with kindness. Also, for yourself, move the energy. I think that's one of the most
Hmm.
important things we can do. Like instead of sitting in front of the screens watching something, the news or social media, like I just went to dance class outside and it was fantastic. Air and
Hmm.
movement, get the energy moving. And the third thing is maybe just to get really quiet with yourself for a moment and just ask, like, what do you need, honey? Like with a
Hmm.
kind voice, what do you need? And let that arise. It might be different for everybody, but I really trust that call and response to ourselves.
Hmm. Oh, I love that. Yeah. The only
Yeah.
thing I would add maybe to that is, I'm a big proponent of, I think you kind of mentioned this with like getting into movement, but like, create something.
Oh,
I can bang on my guitar, and I probably will, because like, the actual physical action of doing it and singing, centers me, and I know that. So usually when I'm like noodling around at home, like thinking of a problem, I'll pick up the guitar, just kind of like my nose to go. But like, in a moment like today, like, sing a song, you
yes.
know.
Yeah. I love that, Sean. Like connect to something that feels alive or curious or creative.
Hmm.
Hopefully maybe just something outside of the whole realm of all of this that's going on, even if it's just for a little while, to just remind your system that there's other there's other things
Hmm.
happening. Yeah.
Yeah,
I love
totally.
that. Thank you so much. I love that we keep exploring this whole topic. The hard stuff is okay. It really is. It is.
Hmm.
It's part of being human. And it's always that, like you mentioned, the balance of accepting and then when we're ready to shift it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right on.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Sherry, for talking about kindness on election day, which, this feels like some of the hard stuff, but kind of going back, like, I felt like you, and I'm so grateful you suggested today. So I think I needed this. I
Yeah.
needed some connection and some good vibes out in the world. So thank you.
Yeah. Mwah. Okay. And thank you to anybody who's here now, anybody listening in the future. Thank you, Mark, for being walking peace out there. We see you. All
Yeah.
right. Bye bye, everyone.
Later.